In the drawing rooms of Regency England, where reputations hang by threads and fortunes determine destinies, a young woman learns that first impressions can be the most dangerous kind of blindness. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. With these words, Jane Austen doesn't merely open a novel, she detonates a revolution disguised as genteel observation. The year is 1813, and England trembles between worlds. Napoleon's shadow darkens Europe while in Hampshire parlours, mothers calculate dowries with the precision of generals plotting campaigns. Austen sits at her writing desk, crafting sentences that will outlive empires, her quill-scratching truths that society pretends not to see. Elizabeth Bennet stands at her window, watching rain streak the glass like tears on a proud face. She is 20 years old, quick-witted, and dangerously independent in a world that demands women be ornamental. Her dark eyes reflect a mind that refuses to be caged by convention's golden bars. The mirror of society reflects distorted images. In this world, a woman's worth is measured not in intelligence or character, but in the size of her dowry and the elegance of her curtsy. Every glance across a ballroom becomes a negotiation. Every conversation, a chess match where the stakes are lifetime imprisonment or blessed freedom. Austen herself knows this dance intimately. Born into a family of modest means, she watches her contemporaries marry for security, while she chooses the dangerous path of spinsterhood and ink. Her father's library becomes her sanctuary, her pen her rebellion against a world that offers women few choices beyond submission. The Bennet household buzzes with feminine energy and masculine absence. 5 daughters orbit around a father who retreats into books and a mother whose nerves flutter like trapped birds. Each sister represents a different response to their constrained existence, from Jane's angelic patience to Lydia's reckless hunger for experience. Enter Mr. Darcy, tall and brooding, carrying the weight of £10,000 a year and the burden of absolute certainty. His wealth creates a gravitational field that bends conversations toward flattery, but Elizabeth remains immune to his pull. She sees through his fortune to the man beneath, or thinks she does. The assembly hall glitters with candlelight and ambition. Bodies move through prescribed patterns while minds calculate advantages. Austen transforms this social machinery into theatre, where every bow conceals a judgment and every smile masks a calculation. The dance becomes a metaphor for the intricate choreography of class and desire. Pride manifests in different forms: Darcy's aristocratic superiority, Elizabeth's fierce independence, society's blind adherence to hierarchy. Each character wears their pride like armour, protecting them from vulnerability, but also from truth. Austen dissects this deadly sin with surgical precision, revealing how it corrupts both the powerful and the powerless. Prejudice spreads like fog across the landscape of understanding. Elizabeth's first impressions of Darcy crystallize into unshakable conviction. She sees arrogance where complexity might exist, cruelty where awkwardness might stumble. Her prejudice becomes a lens that filters every subsequent interaction, distorting reality into confirmation of her initial judgment. The Georgian era pulses with change beneath its ordered surface. The American Revolution has shattered assumptions about authority. The French Revolution has proven that heads crowned with privilege can roll. In England, the merchant class rises, while old nobility struggles to maintain relevance. Austen captures this social earthquake through the tremors in her characters' lives. Mr. Wickham appears like a serpent in Eden, handsome and charming, speaking the language Elizabeth wants to hear. His lies about Darcy find fertile ground in her prejudiced heart. Truth and falsehood dance together at the country assembly, and Elizabeth chooses the partner who confirms her preconceptions rather than challenges them. The entailment looms over the Bennet family like a sword of Damocles. When Mr. Bennet dies, his property will pass to the ridiculous Mr. Collins, leaving his wife and daughters homeless. This legal arrangement exposes the precarious position of women in a patriarchal society, where their security depends entirely on male goodwill and genetic lottery. Lady Catherine de Bourgh arrives like a storm system, her imperious presence filling rooms with the electricity of unquestioned authority. She embodies the aristocratic assumption that birth determines worth, that her opinions carry the weight of natural law. Her attempted interference in Elizabeth's life reveals the desperate lengths to which privilege will go to preserve itself. Austen's biography interweaves with her fiction like gold thread through silk. She never married, though she understood love's complexities. She lived with her family, observing the marriage market with the detached fascination of an anthropologist. Her personal sacrifices for art transform into literary immortality, her unmarried state becoming the price of her freedom to write truth. The Regency period sparkles with surface elegance, while social currents run deep and dangerous underneath. Women's education focuses on accomplishments, French, drawing, music, designed to make them attractive commodities rather than thinking beings. Elizabeth's love of reading marks her as dangerously intellectual, a woman who dares to have opinions. Pemberley emerges from the landscape like a materialized dream, its proportions perfect, its grounds harmonious. This estate reflects Darcy's true character, not the proud man of first impressions, but someone who creates beauty and provides security for hundreds of dependents. Architecture becomes character revelation, stones speaking louder than words. The servant's testimony about Darcy's character pierces through Elizabeth's prejudice like sunlight through clouds. These voices from below stairs carry more truth than society's gossip. Austen democratizes credibility, suggesting that wisdom often dwells in humble places while folly inhabits grand drawing rooms. Letters function as time bombs in Austen's narrative architecture. Darcy's letter to Elizabeth explodes her certainty, forcing her to confront the possibility that she has been magnificently wrong. The written word carries weight that spoken conversation cannot bear, allowing for honest self-examination without the performance required by social interaction. Elizabeth's walk through the countryside becomes a journey through her own assumptions. 3 miles through mud to tend her sick sister scandalizes polite society, but reveals her genuine love. While others judge her soiled hem, Darcy sees her glowing complexion and independent spirit. Nature becomes the testing ground for authentic character. The militia's presence in Meryton introduces the intoxicating possibility of romance beyond the boundaries of class and property. Red coats and bright buttons turn heads, but uniform glamour often conceals character flaws. Austen explores how visual appeal can blind judgment, how society's fascination with military spectacle masks deeper truths about power and masculinity. Lydia's elopement with Wickham sends shockwaves through the family structure. Her impulsive sexuality threatens to destroy her sister's reputations and marriage prospects. In a society where women's virtue determines their value, one daughter's fall can precipitate an entire family's social death. The personal becomes political in the most intimate ways. The economics of marriage permeate every social interaction. Charlotte Lucas's practical union with Mr. Collins demonstrates how women with limited options must choose security over sentiment. Her decision appalls Elizabeth but reflects harsh reality. In a world without careers for women, marriage becomes the only path to survival. Austen's social circle provides the raw material for her fictional universe. The country gentry, the clergy, the military officers all populate her Hampshire world. She observes their pretensions and passions with the cool eye of a scientist, transforming gossip into literature, local scandal into universal truth about human nature. The card table becomes a battlefield where social hierarchies play out through games of chance and skill. Whist and piquet provide structure for conversation, while revealing character through competition. Austen uses these domestic rituals to expose the gambling that defines all social interaction, the constant wagering of reputation, affection, and future security. Books within books create layers of meaning. Elizabeth's reading preferences, Darcy's extensive library, Mr. Bennet's retreat into his study all suggest that literacy becomes a form of rebellion against social conformity. In a world that values appearances over substance, reading represents the dangerous pursuit of knowledge and independent thought. The rhythm of rural life provides the steady heartbeat beneath Austen's narrative. Seasonal changes, market days, church services, these patterns create the temporal framework within which her characters navigate their emotional landscapes. The domestic and the dramatic interweave, transforming ordinary moments into profound revelations about human nature. Class consciousness operates like gravity in Austen's world, an invisible force that shapes every interaction. The Bennet family's position in the lower gentry creates specific pressures and limitations. They possess enough refinement to aspire upward, but lack the financial foundation to achieve security. This precarious position generates the tension that drives the narrative. The art of conversation becomes a form of warfare in drawing rooms where reputations can be destroyed with elegant precision. Wit serves as both weapon and shield, protecting the speaker while potentially wounding the target. Elizabeth's verbal dueling with Darcy reveals intelligence as the most dangerous form of equality between the sexes. Austen's narrative voice operates like a skilled surgeon, cutting through social pretense to reveal the motivations beneath. Her irony creates distance, while her compassion maintains connection. She judges her characters but loves them, understanding that human folly springs from universal desires for love, security, and recognition. The transformation of Elizabeth's feelings mirrors the reader's journey from judgment to understanding. Her initial certainty crumbles as evidence accumulates, forcing painful self-examination. This psychological realism anticipates modern fiction while maintaining the formal structure of 18th century narrative. Character development becomes the novel's true subject. Marriage proposals function as climactic moments where power dynamics become explicit. Mr. Collins's ridiculous formality, Darcy's proud assumption of acceptance, and his later humble second attempt, each reveals different assumptions about gender, class, and consent. The proposal scene becomes a microcosm of broader social negotiations. Female friendship provides refuge from the competitive marriage market. Elizabeth and Jane's sisterly bond, her complex relationship with Charlotte. These connections offer alternative models of intimacy beyond romantic love. Austen suggests that women's relationships with each other might provide more reliable support than their relationships with men. The novel's enduring popularity speaks to its psychological accuracy. Readers across centuries recognize themselves in Elizabeth's mistakes, Darcy's growth, and the universal human tendency to misread others while remaining blind to our own flaws. The specificity of Georgian England contains timeless truths about human nature. Austen's influence extends far beyond literature into popular culture, academic discourse, and social understanding. Her insights about gender, class, and power continue to resonate in contemporary discussions about inequality and justice. The novel becomes a touchstone for examining how social structures shape individual possibilities. The dance between fate and free will plays out through seemingly minor choices that carry enormous consequences. Elizabeth's decision to refuse Mr. Collins, to walk to Netherfield, to visit Pemberley, each choice creates ripple effects that ultimately determine her destiny. Individual agency operates within social constraints but still matters profoundly. Landscape functions as both backdrop and character in Austen's narrative. The confined spaces of drawing rooms reflect social restrictions, while the open countryside offers possibilities for authentic encounter. Geography becomes psychology, with physical movement mirroring emotional and intellectual development. The novel's comic elements serve serious purposes, using laughter to make bitter truths palatable. Mr. Bennet's wit masks his failure as a father and husband. Mrs. Bennet's absurdities reflect real anxieties about her daughter's futures. Comedy becomes a vehicle for social criticism that might otherwise prove too harsh to bear. Time moves differently in Austen's world, where years can pass in a sentence but a single conversation can occupy pages. This temporal elasticity reflects the novel's focus on psychological rather than physical action. Inner transformation requires space and attention that mere plot progression cannot provide. In the end, Elizabeth and Darcy's love story transcends its historical moment to become a meditation on the possibility of genuine understanding between two people. Their journey from misunderstanding to mutual respect suggests that real intimacy requires the courage to abandon cherished prejudices and the humility to acknowledge our own pride. Love, it seems, is the most demanding form of education.